Are you ready?
Starting now?
Oh, now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
You know, but
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now.
All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And you know what? Let's just be fucking honest. This is take two. I started thinking about that. Mike and I had a little bit of technical issue, which I think was on my end. But we were having kind of a semi-stupid conversation about very special episodes and things like that. And
that's right.
Yeah, old TV shows that used to do it, and that's how I was going to open up. But fuck it. You know, it's like
a very special episode of Different Strokes.
Right. Yes. Isn't that the perfect one for us? Thank you. You're joining Sober Not Mature, alias Different Strokes. There's my first air quote for the night.
Well, of course, you know, and I go to the very special episode where, you know, Art Carlson was the bike repair shop guy, and he wanted to touch the kids.
Oh, yeah, well, that would be a different stroke, wouldn't it? Hello.
Yeah, it would. In a very special episode.
In a very special episode, touching in a very special place. All right. So we're heading off in a good way. And you know what? That did lead into something I wanted to talk about too. But first of all, and what we were talking about in the other first take was just saying a quick thank you to everyone, all of our guests. I did post it on Instagram, but we did want to say thank you again to all the people who appeared with us between, end of September, actually middle of September, through last week, and episodes are doing well. We had great conversations. So
we did.
I posted on Instagram. I'm not going to go through the list again, but it's got links to their Instagram pages and their names on there. If you haven't listened to them, it starts at episode 24, goes through 36, which was last week. Support the folks if nothing else. If you want to listen, great, that's cool. But check out the people that we had a chance to talk to, and they were wonderful. We had a good time. So
yeah, and doing some good stuff out there in the world.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's especially last week's episode with Rory. I mean that took on a mind of its own. He's got 109, 110 plays already, which is between him and Christine, we've had 300 probably 20 plays in the last 2 weeks, which is that's the most we've had out of any two episodes. Certainly, Christine's the most out of any. She's our number one now.
Right,
but
and I'm trying not to be resentful.
Right. Yeah. Well, she's better looking than you, and she's got more followers. Right. Yeah. Definitely a low bar, but yeah. So we had a interesting week. Just to kind of recap, and our mom died on Sunday,
right.
And for anyone that's listening, obviously in future down the road, it was Sunday, October 30th of 2022, and it's how do I put this? It wasn't unexpected because of the illness that she had. It was a long running illness. She had COPD, so it's if anyone knows about it, it's terrible. It obviously affects the lungs. Her lung capacity, not to get into a lot of detail, but was severely diminished. So she had been in and out of the hospital, this and that, good days, bad days, all those different things. But it was unexpected. She wasn't in some sort of critical care that we thought it was going to happen that Sunday. So it was it was shocking, but then again, it's just as a recap on that too. So yes, my biological mom, but Mike's been a part of our family since that first Easter. So Easter of 2011, would that be right?
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I always say my adopted mom.
Yeah, but you know
Yep.
what? And we joke about it that you came down, to the house. We fed you, and you never
And
went
I
away.
just keep coming back. Yep.
But yeah, so you actually that's probably the well, no, you met Larry a couple of other times, but yeah, you saw Larry that day too.
Right.
But so yeah, Mike's become part of the family over the years. So just as much his mom for the last 11 years, and
Yep.
so
Absolutely.
it's a blow to both of us. So. One of the first things that we had talked about, after getting through that initial thing, and I think it was probably Monday when you and I were texting or talking or whatever, and my thought, but I wanted to run it by you, was, what I still wanted to do, and you and I were on the same page, about
Yep.
doing this episode this week because, the thing of it is we're going through some shit, no doubt. We've got to deal with our own feelings and our own emotions and all that stuff. But, this is weird, but I know she would approve.
Right. Oh, absolutely. It's a January 6th thing, man. It's a sobriety comes first thing, and this is part of our sobriety. My basic routines haven't changed, and really they've given me strength to do the same thing over and over again, and do what I need to do every day. And I know the same for you too.
Right.
Yeah, So yes, taping an episode on a Friday night seemed like the right thing to do. It's what we do, and we need to continue to do what we need to do to stay sober.
Right.
No matter what.
Yeah, and I guess just to because the other thing too is that this is, and that's what Kathy had just gotten home right before we started recording. So I was kind of keeping an eye on the time, but I was waiting for your text. And one of the things we were talking about, because she was telling Kylie, our niece, that we were going to talk about mom tonight and stuff like that, and. It's just one of those that, because Kathy's like, yeah, they're going to talk about how to deal with, grief and that sort of thing and sobriety. And I said, yeah, because, the thing of it is that I think it's something that we need to have well, we don't need to, but I think it's important to have a conversation, because these type of things sometimes put people over the edge,
Right, sure.
Death, it could be a death of a friend, it could be a death of a family member, it could be anything, so it gives us an opportunity to, I got a couple of stories from this week, but, but the other thing too, though, is that, and I think that you or I are on the same page with this, is that we want to talk about what we've done, and maybe if nothing else, give somebody out there and I want to say, maybe it is the hope, the hope and the understanding that, hey, when you can get through, and we can get through anything, as long as we don't, as long as we don't pick up. But here's the thing, man, we got to lean on other people, and that goes back to doing this too. This is you and I, talking some stuff, and this is our opportunity to have a meeting, to be able to communicate about it, and I don't know, just something other people can listen in on. So
yeah.
But I don't know. You tell me. Where do you want? You heard a couple of the stories so far, but I can start from when I got the phone call. But we got to talk about funeral homes, 2 of them, and there's just a couple of messes going on. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead, start.
Okay. So our sister was in Boston over the weekend, and she had kind of vacillated back and forth about going, just because, because mom was she was in an acute care facility. She was on a 2-week antibiotic. So she had to be someplace to be able to administer that, whatever it was, 2-3 times a day.
Right.
The end of the antibiotic was, surprisingly enough, on Saturday. But we still, once Kathy got back in town, which would have been late Monday, we're going to figure out the next process. And because we've been trying to get her moved in here, but she did not yet know that she wasn't going to be able to go home on her own. So we didn't get that conversation yet. We left it be until, obviously Kathy got back. But so Sunday morning, and it was like 10 to 7 when Kathy called. And there are some minor funny moments to this, and this was one of them when my phone rang. So years ago when our dad died, and we're talking before I got sober, so 12 and a half years ago,
Right.
I was trying to get a hold of her because I got the phone call that he died. So she and I vowed at that point to always keep our phones on, especially now with smartphones. You can set the do not disturb and still get important phone calls. So my phone rang, but clearly I haven't gotten a phone call while it's been on do not disturb, and must be like 8 or 9 months since I got this phone, because it was still on the default ring. I usually put it on the old telephone ring because I want something out of the ordinary. It's going to scare me and wake my ass up,
Right. Get your attention. Absolutely.
Right. So, well, I have a Motorola phone, and some of the default things are Motorola. And so my phone goes off, and it's, "Hello, Moto," and it's going, boom, 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 boom. So I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm like, I look at my phone, and I see Kathy, because I got a completely funny but fucked up picture of her as a contact picture. So I see her face on the phone. I'm hearing Moto, and I answer it, and that's when she told me that she got a call from the facility. But so first thing is that the do not disturb thing worked. Obviously, I got an emergency phone call, so she told me, she was a fucking wreck, of course. And,
of course.
One of the first things we talked about, because she's like, I wish I was there, and I maybe I shouldn't have gone or something like that. And I said, okay. So we stepped back and I told her, I'm like, okay, Thursday, that was Kathy's birthday. We went over to the facility. We hung out with our mom. We picked up little bundt cakes. Kathy smuggled in these two, they have like mini box wine now. Of course, thankfully, I don't know this.
Right. What, like a little, like a Capri Sun, like a juice thing, a juice box?
Yeah, exactly. But in more of
magic juice.
It looks more like a it's thinner, but that's not box, But yeah, that's what it is, like box wine. So she stuck those in, and she had done it before. So they had a little bit of wine. We ate our bundt cake. Mom was in good spirits. Everything was cool.
Good.
So we had a really fucking good night. It was great.
Nice.
So I, reminded Kathy of that. I'm like, when I went over there on Saturday, because I got a call from Mom Saturday morning, and she was, first thing she asked me is, she's like, well, first she says, she's like, shut my bedroom door. I'm like, well, what do you mean? I said, I'm going over to the house. I said, you want the door to your bedroom shut? And then she paused, and she's like, where am I? Am I in the hospital, or am I at home? I said, Mom, you're in the hospital, And she's like, okay. And she goes, and then she hangs up, and I'm like, fuck me. So this is Saturday, right? So I call back, and I get the nurse's station, or I called her back, and she's like, I'm just really tired. She goes, I'll call you later. So I couldn't get a hold of the nurse's station. They went and checked on her. They called me back. They had her on this appetite medication, so basically trying to increase her appetite, because she's been losing weight for years. We all know that.
Right.
But it was getting bad, so they're like, they needed her to eat. But it's also it's like a psych med too, so it affects obviously your brain function. So between the doctors, they're like, we upped.
Probably just off the top of my head, it's probably some sort of synthetic marijuana based thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I would
imagine
idea.
A little psychoactive and increase your appetite. Sounds like pot to me.
Yeah, honestly, it could have been. I just don't. I don't know. They said the name of it, but for the life of me, I can't remember.
Right.
So the nurse is like, we checked her out. Everything else is good. So this is Saturday. Everything else is good, But I texted Kathy, and then back and forth with her. She talked to Mom, blah, blah, blah. So I went over there on Saturday. I had a little bit of run and do, went over there. I spent like 2 hours with her on Saturday. And again, she was in good spirits. Everything was good. They had the breathing treatment while she was there. She sounded a little bit almost like she just had like a glass and a half of wine in her type of thing. But they still, the meds were, that night is when they were going to drop the meds, And then, because the nurse even came in, and she's like, if she has another bad night, we'll figure something else out, maybe take her off, but we think cutting this in half, blah, blah, blah. So that was that. And I even told Kathy that. I said that the time I spent with her on Saturday was cool, but I said that we got that time with her on Thursday. So we're, not that we're good, but you know what I mean.
Right, yeah.
So, because I mean, honestly, she was feeling terrible about not being here, but I'm like, it's okay, man. It's okay. And she's like, I'm gonna try to switch my flight, and I said, cool. I said, let me call you back. I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Right.
First thing in the world, I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta take a piss, man.
Yeah.
So I went and did that, and then went downstairs, and I'm dazed by a little bit lack of sleep. Usually don't get up for another couple hours, but
Right.
also just finding out that our mom's dead.
Right. Yeah.
So I go back upstairs. I'm walking upstairs, and I'm like, fuck. I texted Kathy, and I said, I think this was after I think I brushed my teeth and put my contacts in, and then I texted Kathy, and I said, I need 15 minutes. I got to do my readings. And she's like, okay. I'm trying to find a flight, whatever. And I said, cool. I did my readings, and like almost a half hour passed. I have no idea where the other where the other 15 minutes went.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that tonight too, because that was to begin with that. And just for everyone else, I mean, Mike and I talk about this all the time. These are the things that it doesn't matter what happens. And I mean, and I hope I don't even care. If this sounds callous to anyone, too fucking bad. Seriously, man. I mean, because, so I just found out my mom died, and we got to get some shit settled. But if I don't have myself in the right frame of mind, I'm fucked.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm not there for anyone, So, so that's what I did. I did my readings, whatever, called back. Kathy did a 3-way call to the facility. So basically, I guess they found her already passed away at like 6:30, or the time of death, I guess, was 6:35 a.m. So we're talking to a lady at the facility. She's like, when can you guys get over here? Do you have a funeral home? So we had one set up already that Mom had found. So like, okay, we'll call them, but we don't call them until you're kind of on your way. So let us know, because they're like, we don't have a morgue here. We have to have somebody pick her up within 4 hours. So we got till 10:30, right? So I'm like, okay, but here's the deal. I said, we got to make some phone calls. We got to let some people know. I said, I just got to get myself semi cleaned up.
Well.
And I said, I'm a half hour away, but I'll be there. So we did that. You were the first person that I texted,
Right.
because I knew you were working. So let's stop here, because we know what happened the last time you got a message from somebody about me. So
Right.
my text to Mike was, I know you're working, but if you can call me quick, it is important.
It's important.
I think those were my exact words. So
They were. Yeah.
did you think it was me or something else, or did I even cross your mind?
Actually, it was pretty fortuitous. I was actually at a truck stop. I was stopped. I had gotten fuel, and so I wasn't driving when the text came through. Quite frankly, I figured it was something about Mom.
Okay.
My head didn't go there, but it went, okay, it's something about her. And I called you back, and you told me, and I believe my first word was shit.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, I kind of thankfully had to get back to work. It was, thankfully I'd already done my readings and stuff for the day, so I was prepared for whatever came. It's funny, man. It's funny. I led last night. I led a meeting, and it was a men's meeting here in Cleveland, and there were some guys there that I hadn't seen in a while. There were some guys there that were some of the guys from Who Do You Know were there, and I talked about it because that's what we're supposed to do.
Right.
And you know what, man? I said, and this is all off the top of my head because, I generally don't plan my leads much. And, life on life's terms. Since I've been sober, I've had some shit hit me, but this was the first real big one. I mean, I've had friends and acquaintances, lots of acquaintances, and some good friends that passed away, but this was the first family, really. And But it's funny. I haven't internalized this. I haven't really sat down and well, I've had flashes, but I haven't thought about how it's really affecting me. My first thoughts this past week have been, what can I do for somebody else? How can I be there for other people? And that's pretty fucking cool.
Right.
And even dogs.
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Moxie. She's chiming in here, but
yeah. It's actually kind of cool, because I remember at one point after the meeting, I was walking down the stairs. It was an upstairs of a church, oddly, and I was walking down the stairs talking with some guy, and this is pretty fucking cool, because the old me, the real me, would be this is fucked up, but this is what we are. The old me would have been good. Now I have an excuse to have people buy me drinks.
Right.
And it's true. It's absolutely true. Feel bad for me. Get me fucked up, because I've had tragedy in my life. And that's not what's going on now. What's going on is, how can I help? How can I get somebody else through this? And eventually it's gonna be me, but whatever. I'm not the most important person. Imagine that.
Right. Yeah, and and you mentioned that about the helping other people, and it was because again, Kathy, I'm like, you do what you got to do, and she got the flight, and I said, I gotta, I called you, and then I texted Kimmy. I get on the phone with her, and then I texted Dawn. And Dawn is I've talked about Dawn enough. Dawn's my ex-wife, my son's mom. Right. So I texted her and I said, hey, I said, are you up? And, she's like, yeah. And I said, is Derek up? I said, I'd like to, I need to talk to both of you. It's kind of important. She's like, and I wasn't even thinking, it's Halloween weekend. He and his girlfriend went to a Halloween party. She's like, they got in at probably 2:30 in the morning. She's like, she goes, it's well, she called me and I told her what happened. Cause she's been, and I think she's attached to all the updates and things like that that I send. So told her what happened, and she's like, I don't want to get him up right now, because she goes, I don't want to just wake him up out of a dead sleep. She's like, I don't think that'd be good. And I said, okay, because she's done this for me in the past since I've been sober, when people have died. She's like, I said, I don't want to put this burden on you, and she's like, well, I think it'd be better, let me tell him. I'll text you right away. You can call him. Perfect. Right. I said, this is what I have to do, but I'll be available. So, and we cried. And then, because I don't know, it's just, Dawn and I had, we had a weird relationship while we were together. And I always say that, it was super hot and fucking amazing, or it was super bad and fucking terrible. And, and I don't think that she would disagree, but she, the terrible parts, and I'm convinced that, if nothing else, I've taken responsibility for the fact that even though that there's two people and everything, I know that I pushed us into those bad times, and they didn't get better, and it's because of my drinking and all that stuff. But
passion goes two ways, man.
You're right. It does. Yeah. It absolutely does. So I thanked her, and then later on that day, or whatever day it was, because these days have kind of blended.
Sure.
She actually she thanked me. I think what it was is that she had texted me. I called Derek, and he was broken up. Of course, obviously Kimmy was broken up. I mean, these are my kids and stuff like that. And, and I mean, all I can do is just so you could talk about the funny part. We're using the word funny as peculiar.
Right.
So, but I thought the same thing. I don't know. It might even been over the last couple of weeks, as we knew things were getting weird with Mom, but we didn't know we didn't know she was this close, to that, to dying. But I said, you know what? I said, the thing of it is, I said, I'm more concerned about my sister and my kids, because, And Kathy has been. She's been walking around in a little bit of a fog. She's admitted that.
bet.
I've been doing
Yeah.
the same thing, you know.
Right.
She had more day-to-day contact with my mom for the last few years, but even now, they text back and forth all the time, you know. So it's there's a whole nother element on her side of things, and
Right.
with my kids too, you know. So funny that you would say that. I did. I thought about the same thing. But so I'm like, I tell Kathy, I'm like, you go do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get out to the facility. I left here at like 9:45. I got there whatever time it was, 10:15. And and I'd only been to this facility now, one other time, and that was on Thursday. And it was weird because on Thursday when we were walking back to go see Mom, I'm like, this would be a long fucking walk if somebody died, you know? And seriously, I had that, I swear to God, I had that thought on Thursday.
Yep.
And there I am, you know, on Saturday, or Sunday morning, you know. Saturday I thought that, not Thursday, but so I walk all the way down to the nurse's station. They're like, yeah, the person you want to see is back here. So I got to walk all the way back up this fucking long hallway. Get the person, and we walk all the way down the thing back to where her room is. And you know, they let me in the room, and she's like, okay, you know, here's her stuff over here, and they've got her. I mean, they've got her covered up. She's on her bed and the whole bit, but there she is, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, there's personal items, some hospital stuff. Look through that, take all the time you need. And you know, it's one of those things. It's I didn't want to be there, but I'm glad I was. You know,
Right.
so I took my time, man. I fucking broke down, and I don't know how long I was there.
Yeah.
You know, but I got that time, you know. So I grab her stuff and I walk out and I pull into this business, I don't know, a little bit down the road, and so dogs on my end, people ripping rubber on your end.
Yeah.
This is fucking fun. I see. This is a great part about what we do, right? But so then I'm talking to Kathy. She's like, oh, did they put her purse in there? So I get out of the car. I didn't even look in the. Well, I looked through the bag to make sure phone, iPad, basic stuff was in there. So I looked through again,
Right.
and I'm like, the purse isn't there. And she's like, oh, it was in the nightstand next to the bed. And literally, I'm like, fuck me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, drive back. I gotta go in there again.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you know, so again, all said and done, then I went to a different place and called Kathy back. And then that's when she told me about the funeral home, or in between there. I can't remember when I talked to Derek, but I talked to Derek there. I think I talked to Kimmy again, whatever it was. But then I'm talking to Kathy, and that's when this whole funeral thing home comes up. So basically, the funeral home that was chosen to begin with was one that
Right.
our mom found, and it was Kathy's ex-husband, Mark, his aunt, Kim, who I know really well, too. When her husband died, that's the funeral home that they went to, you know, so
Okay.
that's how we got the first funeral home. So Kathy's telling me, she's like, I just got out the funeral home. They're on the way to pick up Mom, but she's like, I'm just asking them. You know, I just wanted to, you know, to make sure that I can see Mom when we go in for the appointment tomorrow.
Right.
And I said, and she's like, the guy starts telling me all this stuff about this final viewing package, and Kathy's like, she's like, I don't need that. I just want. He's like, well, there's some stuff that we got to figure out first. And then Kathy's like, no, what? He's like, well, we still got to figure out. And she's like, whatever, we'll see you tomorrow. So she's telling me this, you know, and I said, give me the number.
Right. Yep.
And so I ended up calling this guy. Hands me his contact. I call the guy. He answers the phone. They were literally on the way to pick up Mom at the time. They were going to be there in like 15, 20 minutes, whatever it was. So I start telling him all this stuff. I'm like, this is what we want, you know? And he's like, well, we have our final viewing package. And I said, I need to stop you, you know? I said, my sister wants 5 minutes. I said, she's in Boston. She's out of town. I said,
Right.
I just left the facility. I got my time. I said, she's not getting that taken away from her. I said,
Right.
I will not let that happen. You know, and he's like, well, I'm driving. Let me pass you over to my business partner. So this Jenny gets on the phone, and she's like, hi, this is Jenny. And she's going through. And I swear to God, she went through this entire thing, and I let her finish. Because the other thing I asked the guy to begin with, I'm like, how much would it cost? That's when he passed me over. I said, for what
Yeah.
you guys are doing today, how much would it cost if
Yeah.
we choose to go someplace else?
Uh-huh.
So she goes through this whole goddamn thing again. And he's telling me $2,500. She's like, no, it's $2,885. And I said, okay, so I'll ask you the same question that I just asked your business partner. And she's like, well, it would be $425, whatever. I said, cool. We're gonna make some calls. keep the appointment for tomorrow. And she's like, well, if you're unsure, if you want to contact another funeral home to pick up your mom, I said, you know what? By this time, it's like 10:45.
Right.
We don't have a choice anymore. I said they gave us 4 hours. 4 hours is up. It's fucking done with. You pick her up. And I said, we're going to meet you tomorrow at noon. Don't change anything. We'll be there, or we'll let you know what's going on. And then she's like, can I ask you a quick question? I said, ask me whatever you want. She goes, are you still at the facility now, or
Are we going to have to deal with you in person?
Eggs fucking exactly.
Jesus Christ. I mean, I know. You told me all this stuff earlier in the week. And I mean, my ex-wife's family owned a funeral home here in Cleveland. So I've got a little bit of experience with that sort of thing. And these people are assholes. That's all I have to say. Yeah, that's not how you do business, man. You do not start selling packages, and they do, because that's how they do business,
right?
And it's fucking wrong,
right? And the thing of it is, and I think I told you this. Well, first of all, I told the lady no, I hadn't even thought about it, but then the thought crossed my mind. I'm like, and I'm like, fuck, man, I can't go over there now. Here's the thing,
right? Step
back, boys and girls. Back to the time when I was drinking. Not only would I have been there, I would have been drunk, and I would have been arrested. I would have been arrested.
Right. Right.
and I can guarantee you that's exactly what would have happened. But and the other thing too is that through that entire conversation with them, I was very firm in what was going to get done. But I probably have more inflection in my voice now than I did on the phone with them. But on purpose, because I'm like, no, just I got to get some shit done here. That's all I got to do.
Right.
So then I got a hold of Kathy. She had talked to sister, who was mom's neighbor across the street. She knew somebody at another funeral home. That's where we went. I'm going to mention their name because they were fucking wonderful. I'm not going to mention the first funeral home. I thought long and hard about this. I don't even know if I'm going to send them like an email and complain. It might not be. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so
fuck them.
Right. I told Jody, because Jody had called me on Sunday. I said I'm going to end up talking to Mike about this. I said he's my conscience when it comes to this. So you just made the ruling. No, fuck him. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, fuck them. They don't exist anymore.
Right. And everybody, this is the thing. And I go to Mike for things. I go to my sister for things. That was a Mike thing. Thank you.
So you're quite welcome.
But the funeral home that we went to, that we were referred to, number one, they were wonderful. They handled everything. They gave Kathy her time. Both of us got to go in there and see her. Nice. They asked us, they sat down and say, what do you need? Do you need this? Do you need that? They went ahead and set up we thought we were going to have to use a funeral home in Ohio to get the cemetery set up. They made the phone call for that. They found us a pastor. Kathy's like, I want somebody here to say something. They found us a priest, to come down and speak. They did everything for us. And we were happily just to be like, okay, whatever you're charging us, it's all good. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's the name of the funeral home.
That's how it's done, kids.
Oh, and it was cool, and believe me, it wasn't $100,
Right.
But,
no.
Cost some money, but it was Kathy would, and that's the thing with this. And Kathy admittedly would have said whatever those fuckers were going to charge, she would have done it to not lose that time, with our mom.
And that's what those fuckers counted on.
I know, and it's just it's despicable, like you said. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
But the name of the funeral here in Indiana, it's Rees, Rees, and they're located in Hobart, which is Hobart, Indiana.
Yep.
I hate to say for all your dying needs, but what the fuck, man? They're absolutely fucking wonderful, and I just and I told them that, and when we were telling them the story, they said that they are trained. And they're like, we know not everyone else is trained this way, but they said we have somebody's family member. She said we have to be careful how we word things because we can't make people feel like we're holding somebody hostage.
Right.
And that's why I didn't do anything because I'm like, they have her mom. I didn't do a fucking thing because I'm like, we need this other funeral home to go pick them up or pick her up. Get them set. Once she's away from there, then if I decide to react to it, then I will. But because I was in my head, it's stupid. I was worried about that,
Right, I know. That they were making you feel that way. Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah. Reese, REES. That they were fabulous, and
Good.
like I said, it's they made even when I went to pick up the ashes the other day, because I wasn't. I mean, again, you're picking up all this shit. It's the little memorial cards, and we have the death certificates, and you're picking up
Right.
They this is going to sound so stupid, but it made a difference. They put the ashes in. I mean, granted, it was a logoed bag, a tote bag, from with their funeral home logo on it. But it was like a nice fabric tote bag that they put the ashes in. And when she brought it in there, in my head, I'm like, well, that's really fucking nice.
Yeah.
But it was,
Yes. Right.
And it just when I walked out of there, I mean, I wasn't whistling a tune or anything like that, but I didn't feel like fucking weirded out by carrying our mom's ashes out, and whatever it could have been. So just everything, every step Good. Along the way. So, but you know what? We didn't even talk about this, but you wanna take our quick 60-second break here?
Yeah, sure. What the hell, man?
Yeah. Hey, we still need to try to get this pieced in there. So, okay, kids,
Yep.
we will be back in 60 seconds. Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober Not Mature. Have you visited our website lately? If not, it's www.SoberNotMature.com. While you're there, you can listen to all of our episodes or find links to where our episodes can be played, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and others. We do have a blog page for some of the writings that we've done. We've got a web store where you can take a look at all of our merchandise, buy yourself a t-shirt or a hoodie, maybe even a mug. You can see our review section where you can actually leave a review or see what people have been saying about us. You can check out our sponsor page. We've got a contact page. Basically, any opportunities that we have to contact or interact with us are on our website. Also, you can buy us a coffee, or you can just find other ways to support the podcast. Visit us today at www.SoberNotMature.com. All right. Thank you for the patience, and back to good funeral homes versus bad funeral homes on Sober Not Mature.
Not mature. Oh, speaking of that, and this one crossed my mind, and I know you're going to like this. Why didn't you use Dyke's Funeral Home? It's a place right by Kathy's house. I pass it every time I'm going to her house and coming home, and it always cracks me up every time I see it.
Oh yeah,
because it's spelled with a Y.
Oh yeah, I know where it's at. It's right. Yeah, it's on the way to the high school.
Yeah, right. It's around the corner. It's on the way to the freeway, to the turnpike.
Right. Yep. Yeah, and it's kind of funny that Google Maps must send you out that way because it's harder to turn onto whatever that street is that comes up more the intersection than the next one.
Right.
Yeah. I know where it's at. But
I just it always cracks me up because what, they don't deal with straight people there. Gay guys can't get interned there. What the hell's going on? It's a pretty specific market.
Right. Yeah. It seems wrong. And and this is it's the Reese reminded me of, and I spelled it to begin with. I wrote it down, Reese, like Reese's Pieces, and it reminded me of the Family Guy episode where you got chocolate in my peanut butter. And it's Officer Reese's is the one that just shoots both of them and then steals the idea. But yeah, so I'm trying to think from there. Oh, and so I left it like quarter to 10, but again, phone calls back and forth, this, that, and the other thing. I had to stop at Mom's. I can't remember what I did. I was gone for like 5 hours, and part of it was I was just kind of meandering, doing some shit. Oh yeah, I had to go over to Mom's and grab a couple of things or whatever, and I put away the patio furniture from when Kathy had stained the deck, and I went and did my grocery shopping, but like I told you, because were texting back and forth, and you said you'd call that night, because you were, when I told you Kylie got home, and I think, well, you know what you said to me in the text, after I said,
I said, I'm glad you're not alone.
Right. Yeah. Said not super worried about me, but glad I'm not alone.
I wasn't worried about your sobriety or anything. Just because clearly I can't be there, and I'm glad someone, a loved one, was with you.
Right. Yeah. And it's nice to have people around, but there was certain points throughout this week. And here's the other funny part too. And it had nothing to do with anyone else, because it's great having people around, and I'm going to love being around everyone this weekend, because it's just it's so much, it's so nice, and obviously you're going to be there too and all that stuff. But it's like, so Monday, Kathy and I went to the funeral. Tuesday was doing stuff, almost a pointless, day at work on Tuesday. I was back and forth with all this stuff. Even Wednesday, finishing up some stuff. So we got like everything kind of squared away by, I think I took one more phone call on Thursday morning. Maybe it was about the priest or something, or this and that. And then everything was all set. Airbnb set, people's travel plans, everything's in place. And then at that point, it was just kind of like, I was just wiped, almost like it was almost like I hit a fucking wall. And it was like last night, Kathy was talking about some stuff, and I had a Klondike in a bowl, and she's just, you just want to go eat your ice cream. I'm like, yeah, it's just one of those things, man. And I did, but I just wanted to, and like today, once I only worked till noon today, and I'm just like, I gotta just go do some shit. I need to, I don't know, just clear my head. But I've had a few people, text me, message me, this and that. Just, I hope you're taking time for yourself. And I'm like, I'm getting done what I need to, almost to a T, what you talked about, right off the bat, is that I want to make sure, and it's important to me, clearly important to us, that other people are taken care of. I'll have my time, and I've had my time, and I've had my moments. I'm not, I'm not ignoring it or anything like that. Hey, if there's any psychologists or psychiatrists listening to it, fuck it, it's our process. It is. It is what it is. And you know what? We've been taught by a particular 12-step program, and it tends to work for us, and that's what the fuck we're doing. So I mean, that's the gist of it. It's all been, again, this whole thing is kind of fucked up. It doesn't necessarily seem completely real. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't seem real. It's going to be more real when my kids get here tomorrow. It'll be even more real when everyone gets together on, Sunday and Monday, all those different things, Oh, and then this Sunday is would have been her birthday too. She literally one week before her birthday, so Sunday. Yeah. Which is, as Kathy said the other night, she's like, you know what? She's like, well, I guess we get to get all the firsts out of the way pretty quickly. Her birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. Right. And then, I mean, well, obviously Mother's Day would be the next one coming up, but get the big ones, the birthdays and the holidays and that sort of thing. So. But yeah, it's just, and the thing of it is, and Kathy said she hasn't been sleeping really well. I'm almost the other way around. I've been sleeping so fucking deep, but it seems like not enough, Right. It's like I get up and I'm fucking white, but I didn't move, Yeah. So, but, the other thing too is that, and I don't know, I mean, we've kind of explained what we've done, within this time frame. Is there anything else that you can think of that would, because I want the same thing. I mean, I know both of us do. We want to take a look at if somebody's new, if they've never had a death in the family like that. Well, you talked about that. So this is the first big one that you've had. Maybe start with that. I mean, with the exception of going to a meeting and talking about it. I mean, what have you done differently than you normally would? You know
what? Not a damn thing. Nah, I mean, no, my routines, my what I do for my sobriety, happens the same every day, no matter what. It's funny. I had to look up the stages of grief, right? Because I couldn't remember exactly. There's like 5 of them or whatever, right? And I just wanted to see, because I couldn't remember, for some reason what they were. And it's funny. It was like I'm looking at them and I go, bargaining. Well, being an atheist, there's nothing to bargain with, so that's out of the way. Acceptance is like the last one, and I was all, well, again, I acceptance is part of my program, so that's I'm powerless, and reality is what reality is, and so that's easy. So I've been vacillating pretty much between depression and anger, which is not unlike most days.
It's a normal Tuesday,
Yeah, exactly. No, that's but I don't know, man. It's, again, I'm not really Like you said, not really focusing on myself. Imagine that. To process it through. It's funny. I was in the kitchen a couple days ago, and I was thinking about everybody getting together, right? And gonna see some people. I mean, because of the pandemic and stuff, we haven't all gotten together, everyone,
Right.
in quite some time. And my head was it's going to be really cool to see all these people that I haven't seen in a while. And then snap, shit, mom's not going to be there.
Right.
Yeah. But it's funny. Again, people reaching out and texting me and stuff too. And our friend Michelle texted me a couple of days ago, just how you doing, blah, blah, blah. And I was all good, and I let her know. This is before we had done the Facebook stuff and all that in our group. And, I said, yeah, everybody's coming in on Sunday, and it's going to be wonderful, and it's going to be really rough. And that's what it is,
right?
And that's all okay. That's again, like I was saying last night in my lead, this is life on life's terms, man. And this is really, we say it a lot, and we life on life's terms. When some asshole cuts us off on the road, or grocery prices are too fucking high, or whatever. Life on life's terms. No, this is fucking life on life's terms. And I'm getting through it, man, doing what I'm supposed to do. And there's a level of gratitude and satisfaction in still being able to do the next right thing, no matter what. Yes, it's sad. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it sucks. But still, taking that next step in the right direction is, like I said, satisfying and gratifying. Like I said, it's going to be wonderful, and it's going to be rough.
Right.
And I'm kind of looking forward to both.
Well, but that's the thing, though, is that and I thought back to my dad, and the one big difference there, and for everyone who listens to this part, when I went off the rails, I was not trying to get sober when my dad died. So this was me and my full alcoholicness and everything else. So it wasn't like it again triggered me or anything like that. It's just a full blown alcoholic with no coping skills, and I just got worse.
Right.
But the difference there, though, and like when Larry died, again, a year and 2 months, and now this is 12 and a half years later, is there's still the same thoughts in my head where I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to be here. I don't want any of that, And when you just said wonderful and awful, it reminded me of, or just made me think about when I walked into that room at that facility, because it was, I wouldn't trade that for the world, but it was fucking awful, But I don't. That was why it was so important for me. Or I guess for me to make it clear to this fucker at the funeral home that no, my sister needs this. It's not a question. This has to happen.
Yeah.
And I needed to be there. I didn't get to see. Well, I was actually there when Larry died. For everyone else, that was my stepdad. And I was literally there when he took his last breath. Was standing right next to him. Terrible. More terrible watching Mom. Trying to tell him to let go and saying her goodbyes. Wonderful to see that love, but terrible to see that circumstance. But all these different things, like you said, horrible and wonderful. What a great way to put that. I mean, how the hell else do you explain that? But and here's a great example of when we talked about however many episodes ago, when people tell me that they don't think about drinking, I think you're a fucking liar, okay? Because I didn't think about getting drunk during this time frame, but I thought about drinking in the fact of, boy, if I was still drinking, this is what I would do. If I was still drinking, I wouldn't be here. If I was still drinking, I said this before, no question in my mind, I would have got arrested at that facility. because I would have went fucking crazy on those people.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then Kathy would have had to deal with Mom and you.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the way that I think about this. So my whole point of even bringing that up is that, again, for anyone who's listening, who's new, who's still having thoughts or whatever, and you're worried about a situation like that, or you're worried about having these thoughts, you can have the thoughts. It just depends on what you fucking do with them, you know?
Yep.
You know, I was here by myself when all this shit happened. Granted, Kylie got home later, but I had nobody to babysit me. None. You know, I could went off and do whatever I want, you know?
Right.
I mean, and that's so we were joking about, you know, what was it? When did I get paid? Either way, I've got some money. I could have went and had a good time for a couple of days.
Yeah.
But so anyhow, just the dealing with this stuff and being pulled into this, and again, a lot of people reaching out, and I mean, just the Instagram and Facebook friends. I mean, all of our friends on Facebook that are true friends that I don't mean true friends. I'm sorry, friends that we know in real life. But then like G reached out to me. I was shooting the shit with her. We've got Christine, you know, had messaged me. She's like, I don't even know what to say to somebody when they lose a parent. She goes, I don't know what to say to you. And I'm like, you don't have to say anything.
Enough.
Yeah, I said, you reached out. That's all that I need.
Yep.
You know, and just all the people who commented and reacted and all that stuff. That's why I put in that post. People we don't even fucking know. You know.
Yeah.
It's just fucking beautiful. You know.
It is.
But I mean, just really and like I said, you know, coming down to, and I don't know, I'm trying to figure out if everything we've talked about in the last 49 minutes has been how anyone could or would deal with this. I mean, because when I think about it, I'm like, we didn't really say much. We told some fucking stories, but maybe that's the point, you know, that this is, is it really that simple? Can it really be that easy?
It really is that simple.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the key there is having people you got to be able to reach out to somebody, and you're going to have weird thoughts, and you're going to, you know, life's going to happen. But like you said, you know, life on life terms, we talk about all this shit all the time. But this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
This is, as they say, we've been training for this for 12 and a half years.
Yep.
And I don't mean to keep laughing about it, but man, it is. It's just,
it is.
It just is, man.
There's joy in doing the next right thing. God damn it. Yeah. You know, we're exactly. We're like I said, you know, talking to people last night at the meeting, and it was like, you know, my like I said, my true self would use this as an excuse to get fucked up.
Right.
You know, not that I needed one, but you know, my alcoholic mind goes, hey, I've got a reason to get fucked up.
Right.
No, no, I don't.
Right.
I have a reason to stay sober. Turn that shit around.
Yep. It is literally the opposite, you know, of how we used to be, because you know, hey, my mom just died. Oh, I'm going to go have a drink. Well, my mom just died. I'm going to go take care of my shit, you know?
Yep. I'm going to go make sure it's all right for others.
Right.
And in doing so, I'm taking care of myself too.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny though, and this will probably it might surprise anyone, because I talk about eating quite a bit. But so in all this running around and shit that I was doing, you know, because I went to the facility, and I don't think that by the time I got done with phone calls, and I think because Kathy and I were talking back and forth, I must have sat in that parking lot for an hour between Derek and her, and a couple of times with her, whatever it was. But I don't know if I said before. Did I tell you that Dawn thanked me for keeping her involved with all this stuff with the family?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
You started to, but didn't kind of finish it.
Okay.
But yeah.
But yeah, so that was part of that when I was in the parking lot after I talked to Derek, because she texted me back and said, she goes, that follow-up phone call, she said, I think helped a lot, you know. And, Derek's girlfriend Katie's coming with him too, because she was there also.
Good.
Yeah. She was there also when he found out. So, you know, that Dawn told me that. You know, and because Katie had texted me. Well, first of all, again, back to Dawn. So she told me that, and I said it wouldn't feel right not including you with that. I'm like, you know, because I just do, you know. So
right,
I've always,
she's family too.
Yeah, I've always kept her up to date. But then,
of course.
Katie had texted me, and she's like, "Is there?" This is my son's girlfriend. She's like, "Is there? Apologize. Sorry for your loss. All that, no, whatever. I mean, very nice stuff." But then she's like, "Is there anything that I can do? Anything I can do to help?" And I said, "Well, and if Derek ever listens to this, he knows this, so I'm not saying anything I wouldn't say to his face. He tends to shut down in weird situations, and Dawn and I both know that. So sometimes we've had as a younger man and a younger kid, we've had to just pry it out of him, so he doesn't hold that emotion in. But I told Katie, I said, I'm sure Dawn said this, maybe you've dealt with it yourself, but I said, just take care of him. That's all you got to do. I'm cool.
Yep.
I said, I'm fine. Just take care of him. And I said the same thing to Kimmy. She's like, is there anything that you need? I'm like, go hug that husband of yours. Go take care of him. Take care of your son. I'm like, I'm good. I'll handle all this shit. Not all this shit. I didn't mean it that way. But this, I'll handle my business, myself, and Kathy and I are doing it all. But that's just what all this stuff is all about. Just kind of like, again, rather than going that I have a right to do this. No, this is now my duty, my job.
Yeah.
I mean,
obligation.
Obligation. There you go. I do, and I feel obligated in a very, very positive way to make sure that those around me feel good. And because I know I've got the tools, to deal with this stuff, and I didn't know that until Larry died. And I didn't know that until all these other things have happened to me over the years, And that's the other thing. Again, for anyone listening, you will never know how to handle something like this until it happens. But so keep it simple. Again, it's just kind of like Mike and I were talking about. Don't change your routine. Reach out to somebody. Try to help somebody else and to make you feel better. But then, you still got to take time for yourself, granted. But but that's the main thing. Reaching out to other people, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Chris, my girlfriend, I texted her right after she was actually working that Sunday too. So I texted her and my daughter right away, and we didn't know exactly what was going on as soon as we found out that Monday was the day that we were going to do the ceremony. I texted her and I said, it's going to be Monday. I don't know if you're going to be able to get off work, but I really want you to be there. And of course, she got it off work and she's going to be there.
Nice.
Amber and Lydia will be also.
Nice.
Amber got the day off of work as well. Family, man. Family. It's 13 years ago, didn't have this shit.
Right. Right. And that's the thing, that's why when we were talking about, and I don't know, it just kind of popped into my head. I'm like, man, wouldn't that be nice to just find a place? And that's where, the whole idea of the Airbnb came in. Just to get, and then as I'm looking around, I found the Chippewa Lake thing. And did we ever talk about that?
I don't. I mean, you had, in one of the group texts, you had said something about nostalgia.
Okay. And
I went, well, okay, so apparently you guys had some history there, but I didn't know what it was.
Yeah. So, so the Airbnb thing, it just made sense, and I was looking for a certain number of people and blah, 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 and we figured if nothing else, rather than, because Kathy and I were talking, kind of like we did for, Grandma Jackson, we went back, it was at that Masonic home where we kind of all gathered and got together and different things like that, so we're like, okay, do we try to find, some place to just rent, and then it was like, okay, if we do this, this, and this, everyone can stay together, everyone can hang out, we have actual place to be, and we don't have to worry about after an hour having to leave, So I started looking around, and I was trying to look close to where the cemetery is. And again, so everyone knows, and I don't remember if I mentioned this in post, but my stepdad was in the Marines. He's buried in a military cemetery, one of the national cemeteries in Ohio. They got a double plot, so we got it all set up, and that's where our mom is going to be buried too, where her ashes are going to be interned, I think is the right word. Yeah, there we go.
It is.
So interned, just sounds like, I don't know why I laugh at a word like that. It just sounds interned. But anyhow, interned.
Yes.
So I start looking somewhere close to there. I'm thinking Medina, this and that. That's what I did first. I searched Medina. And then I saw Chippewa Lake, and I'm like, fucking really? So here's the thing: it was Gail's parents,
Okay.
and you never met her parents.
No.
Her dad died while he was after we got sober because Grandma Lindela was in the facility Normandy, and then her dad was in the. He ended up in the area where where the other grandma was, but he was in another like residence part of it. So all said and
Okay.
done, they had a cottage on Chippewa Lake, and then I don't know if John and Gail actually bought it or if her parents, whatever it was. We used to go there every single summer when we were kids.
Really?
Yeah, with John and Gail. So
Okay.
we go to Chippewa Lake all the time, and it was great. And it was not an all like a year round place or anything like that. But in the summers we'd go, we'd hang. It was great. And it was one of those ones where Kathy and I were talking about it the other night. It was one of those when you walked into it, especially because we were there a couple of times when they first opened it up for this season. It had this just this old wood smell. It was never. I don't remember it being musty, but it was just.
Right.
I don't know if it's so hard to explain unless you have to.
Yeah.
You know what? It's really somewhere down by a lake and whatever. It's just this weathered type
Sure.
of old wood. It was beautiful. Not a huge place that I remember, but yeah. So we spent a lot of time there, and then so I'm talking to Kathy, and we're trying to get things set, and I'm like, yeah, if that would work, because it originally would sleep up to 8, and then there's an attic to add another 4. There's like king and a queen bed. There's so figuring out whatever. There's single beds and all these different things in there. It probably sleeps 10 comfortably, but we're going to take air mattresses just in case if people want to stay.
Okay.
And it's probably 2 blocks off of the lake. I thought to begin with it was right on it. Doesn't matter. But still, so yeah, there was a place that we spent as kids. So then, obviously Gail and Jody was, I think Gail might have been pregnant with Jody when we used to go there right away. I mean, we're talking, 40 years ago,
Right.
maybe even 45 years ago, come to think about it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's where all that came from. So it
Okay.
just kind of turned out to be, just kind of a cool thing, on top of it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, but that's why
Nice.
that's why I said, just the whole point of, like you said, with the family and just being able to have everyone in one place, and if anyone wants to stop by, that's why I posted in our, the poker page today and let everyone
Right.
know there, and because I don't know, I mean it's weird, I mean we're not going to get there until later afternoon on Sunday, and Monday's a work day for most people. If it doesn't work out,
Yeah.
that's fine. But if not, hey, if it does,
Right.
whatever works out, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, when Michelle's father died, I mean, Tony's wife Angel and I went together to the funeral.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just because we for whatever reason I had that day off and she was around and Tony was out working and yeah, so we ended up going together.
Nice.
And yeah, that's what we do if we can.
right. Well,
Right.
and that's the whole point with all this stuff too. And I remember obviously when Larry had passed away, and even when like Uncle John had passed away and stuff like that. And I know that, God, that's when you were still working, I think, for Sandy. So you had
Right.
just left town, I think, the day that it happened.
Yeah.
So I remember getting a hold of you, and you're like,
Right.
fuck, man, I'm on my way out, and whatever that was, you were going to be gone for like 2 weeks, or
Yeah, right.
That's during that fun run that you had, but.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that is the thing, for the sober people, and whether it's I mean all of our friends that usually come together are just they're all AA people, but one way or the other, I mean sober people get out there and they support other sober people. We heard that
Yep.
right off the bat, and it's been proven to me and to us, I mean, time and time again, because there's already always somebody there. If you need something, and everyone always willing to, lend a hand, or if nothing else,
Right.
lend an ear, or whatever the case may be. So
Shoulder.
a shoulder, yeah.
Right. Yep.
That was your line, wasn't it? Was it sometimes you can't do anything? You said that in an episode once. Just put your arm around somebody or provide a shoulder. You can't change
Yep.
it, but
Yeah. Just be a warm body there.
right.
Know that they're not alone. Yeah.
That's what she said.
That's right.
Yeah, just be a warm body there, baby. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess that is the basics, right? Because I want to be able to, like I said, I don't know why I keep thinking this in my head that I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if this helps people. If nothing else, it helps.
Yeah.
It helps us. But I just know
Right.
that a lot of people either have gone through this or about to or will go through this, and
Yeah, well,
just
everybody's going to go through it one time or another.
yeah. But I just say, I mean, people that are, us people like that. So many people just
I know.
lose their fucking minds when it comes to this. And believe me,
Yeah.
it's being sober and having to follow the rules doesn't make it any easier. But at least it doesn't feel like it. Well, hang on, I was done yet.
All right.
I said it doesn't make it any easier right away in our heads, but it is the easier, softer way. See, I was getting around to it.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Yeah, because I heard your. So Mike and I were just talking about before we got on that we always test volumes and things like that, and I'm like, you don't tend to get as excited. When we don't have a guest, and he's like, well, sometimes he goes, either I'm not saying something, that he's got to jump in on or whatever the case is, but
Right.
but usually, so the thing of it is, what's funny is if anyone listens back to the first couple of episodes, we talked over each other a lot, and then we figured out it was before this software, number one, but.
Sure.
Even with the old stuff, we kind of figured out when I'd start to hear you, I'd shut up, and when you'd start to hear me, you'd shut up, and so
Yep.
we like instinctively. I was telling Kathy about that. I'm like, yeah, it's weird. I'm like, we don't talk over each other on the recording because we learned not to, But
Yeah, get our rhythm.
right. But yeah, that's I heard you about with that. I'm like, no, hang on. I'm bringing this around.
Yep. Good.
But yeah, I mean, seriously, it doesn't feel like that would be easier. But man, I'll tell you this, from if nothing else for anyone out there, with the way I dealt with my dad, and again, I was still drinking, but it doesn't even matter whether I was trying to get sober or not. I was drunk and then I got sober, and I didn't allow myself any time to deal, to grieve, to process, to do any of that stuff, and it took me. It took me 9 months, and
Yep.
and seriously, and I know Mike and I joke about the is it that simple and that conversation and all that stuff, but I'm telling you, I probably, and I didn't realize it, until probably more so when you and I started talking about this stuff on here, is that damn, I'm like, number one, I was probably dry, as you put it, certainly not joyous and free. But on top of that, I mean, I think there's a pretty goddamn good chance if I hadn't dealt with that, I probably would have relapsed,
Right. Yeah.
So this stuff is hard and is painful and is horrible and wonderful, like you said, as this is going to be.
Yep.
Man, if we don't deal with it and hit it head on, it's worse. It will not turn out well.
Right. Right. And well, all right, we'll bring it all back, man. Big Book says the root of our troubles is selfishness and self-centeredness. So the way to get through this and to deal with it is to not focus on ourselves, but focus on the people around us. And that's, I know Bill will agree, that's how we're getting through this.
Right.
Yeah, we sit there and dwell on, ooh, I feel like shit. Oh, I'm so sad. Oh, I've been wronged because tragedy has struck me. Yeah, we're that's alcoholic thinking, and then it gives us the excuse. Then we rationalize and justify and say, well, hell, I deserve to get fucked up.
Right.
No. You focus on other people. You focus on doing what you have to do for others, and that's how we get through it. That's how it's done, man, in everything.
Right.
And it's just more intensified in a situation like this, but it's still the same solution. Don't focus on your own ass. You're not that important.
and you know what is. As you were saying that, and I guess I was mumbling around the point before, but I just kind of, now I think I can put it into words a little bit better, is that up through like Wednesday, I didn't really have the chance to really have to focus on myself, because there was all these different things, and it was like last night, I dropped almost into this void. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do, because I didn't have, I needed something to do. I don't know what the fuck I needed to do, but I needed something to do. And then even today, I mean, I couldn't. So I hate my job, and you know that. And I'm down to the point where I'm not even sorry I say I hate it anymore, because I do. It's pointless.
Yeah.
I fucking hate it.
Right.
And I had zero zero patience for work this week, which I don't like it to begin with, but adding on the fact that I'm like, I got 100,000 more things that I could be doing that are more important than
Right.
this fucking meaningless thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then so I was so glad to get done with work, and I went to Kohl's. I got a new pair of jeans. I just got a button up shirt, but a casual one, 'cause keeping the whole thing casual, but. So I'm like, I want to do that. I need to stop at Mom's. I got my paper towel holder, and then
Right.
and my little pie server. But
Mm-hmm.
but then by the time I get home, like when I texted you, at that point I'm like, okay, I got nothing to do. Is Mike ready to do the podcast? which I knew you weren't, but I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm gonna hop on Instagram. I'm gonna do whatever. And then actually, G had messaged me, so she and I were going back and forth on some stuff. Burned up some time. Got my pizza. But it's a matter of like, it's like at this point, I don't know. I just almost feel these like little voids every once in a while because it's this rush of shit, for a few days, and but it's okay. I'm looking forward to getting a decent night's sleep. Kids will be here tomorrow. We're leaving on Sunday, and
Right.
yeah. I mean, it's all good. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other thing that kind of popped into my head as we were talking here too. So, and I hope this comes out the right way because it is. I almost feel like when I said with Gio, and I'm like, this isn't going to sound like a compliment, but it is. I so many times, and I have no specific examples, but so many times over the years, and whether it's been people I know or work people or whatever, when a person dies, it's like all of a sudden that person becomes a saint, like they had no faults and had no flaws. Mom was not flawless. She was not perfect. Drove me fucking nuts a lot of times. It's been a frustrating time, over the last few months trying to get her to move. I mean, physically move into here and all that stuff. But
I know.
But you know what? And I say that, so I say it's not going to sound like a compliment, but part of what I was thinking about this the other day is that she is, she was one of the strongest women that probably I ever met, and ever knew. And I mean, and I've worked with a lot. I've worked for women, all that stuff. I respect women. Part of the respect I have for women, with the exception of how I treated my ex-wives when I was drinking, and there was no physical abuse or anything like that. So if anyone's thinking that, no, don't think that. I was just a raging asshole because I was an alcoholic. But part of the extreme respect I have for women is because of my mom and because of my sister. Because the two of them are really strong people. And you know what?
Yep.
All the things that used to piss me off, even recently, about mom and stuff like that, is the reason I respected her. And I'm never going to be the first one here to, even in her death, to say that she was perfect and she was a saint, because she wasn't. But that's okay. That's what people are supposed to be, And it just, I don't know. I don't even know why that popped into my head, but those were all the things that probably pissed me off over the last, 54 years are, going to be the biggest things. My dad, there's little things that used to just irritate the shit out of me with my dad.
Right.
And, those are things I miss, 12 and a half years later. But yeah, I mean, she was a wonderful individual, always had the best. She always had the best intentions. And that's all that we could have asked from her, and she's, obviously I'll miss her, but, I just wanted to say that she wasn't perfect, but that she was perfectly imperfect. How's that?
She was, she was, wonderful. I mean, one of the first things Chris said to me is, she, from the very instant she met her, she welcomed her in and made her feel like she was part of the family,
right?
And she certainly did with me too. I kind of take it for granted. This one just hit me, she did that to me too, and I mean, Jesus Christ,
right?
She's the only person in the world that ever called me big guy, and I let her get away with it. I mean, and trust me, in the early sobriety, I blew up pretty good,
right?
Because you got to replace something with something, and me, it was food. A pint of Ben and Jerry's a night for a while there,
right?
But she always called me big guy, and you know what? In my head, I've always been like a skinny guy because I was a skinny guy my whole life, but. She called me that, and it was a term of endearment,
right.
and I took it that way. You know, it's like, don't call me big guy. What the hell, man? Anybody else pull that shit on me? Yeah, but not her.
Right. Well, do you remember? And I'm pretty. God, was it after I moved? I don't remember if it was after. It might have been before I moved. I don't even remember now because you became part of all of us before I moved back to Wisconsin easily. But
sure.
So even if it was a year into it, a couple years into it, I remember you and I talking one time. You're like, I think it was furniture that she wanted you to pick up or something like that. You're like, dude, your mom has called me like 7 times to get whatever and this and that. You're like, can you? And I said, no, I cannot, because I said, you now, my friend, are all part of the problem. I said,
yep.
You call her mom, go deal with her like a mom. Yep. You're just like, fuck.
Yep. Yep.
But in the best way possible. Fuck.
Oh yeah. It was probably one of the most wonderful fucks I've ever said in my life.
But yeah, I remember that. You're just like, and I'm like, nope, no more. Yeah, she's
she's just as much your problem as she is ours.
Yeah,
and it was beautiful.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, it's been a tough couple of years, with because she was stubborn, she didn't want to move and all those sort of things, and it was since I've been down here, and I came down here at the end of June, and again, things happening in somebody else's time, right? And I was trying to. And I knew I was, and I was trying not to, trying to run the show. Like, this has got to happen, got to move, got to do this, got to that, and it didn't matter. I mean, not this, the fact that this was going to happen, but, when all of us finally calmed down a little bit, and me and Kathy included, is when she finally is like, I think she had that realization. She's like, okay, it's time. Let's start looking into this. And then we started pushing forward, So, and again, I mean, ultimately it didn't get to that point, but it's okay. I mean, she eased up. Well, she knew where she was.
You know what this means, right?
What's that?
She fucking won.
She won the battle.
She did.
Damn it.
Damn. That one hit me the other day. I was like, when am I going to share that? And apparently just now.
I'm not moving in with you. Well, yeah, she showed us, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, and I hope everyone out there understands the sense of humor that our family has, and again, I mean, the sense of humor that she had too, and there was plenty of times that the funniest thing that she ever said about this though was, this podcast is that, when she honestly said to me, we were over there for lunch a couple months ago, and she's like, you know what? She goes, I don't like when you guys say that all the time. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, all you do is say fuck on there. I don't like it. No, actually, that was even big. Oh shit, yeah, that was. God, I was down here. Oh shit, I think that was coming back from my anniversary or our anniversaries or something like that. Because yeah, shit, I don't even think I was down here yet. So yeah, that was in our first few episodes or handful of episodes. But and I remember us bringing that up, and we're like, yeah, sorry, Mom, we're fucking sorry. Fuck,
yep.
Fuck. But yeah, and then somebody had just said that to me today. I can't remember who said it. Somebody on Instagram that, because obviously we've talked about her so much, and, somebody said how, hey, she loved you guys and she was proud of you guys. And I know that. And I've had, that's the thing, man. And here's the other piece for, hopefully anyone out there that's listening, that all the stuff we talk about doing the right thing and all those sort of things, Mike says it probably more than I do, but so both of us have had, and let's even go from the 11 years, because let's go on an even pace here. We've had 11 years of doing the next right thing, to the point where I'm at peace with her. You know what I mean? And I know that she was proud of us and happy with what we were, and respected us and loved us, and there's no regrets, man. There was nothing left unsaid, and I mean that's a beautiful thing. I mean, that I thankfully I got that with my stepdad. My dad and I were on better terms, but I think I could have done more, but with her, I know that it's just, everything is just packed up and wrapped up tight, and it's boom, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
What the fuck more can you ask for, right?
Not a goddamn thing.
Well, you know what? I think since I heard not a goddamn ththing, I think this might be a damn good place to wrap up, huh?
It would.
All right, so it's up to. Do you want to do your normal out, or what do you want to do? Do you want to do a?
You know what?
You want to do a?
I don't.
You want to do a special episode, out?
A very special closing.
That's fine, man. This is all you. So do whatever you got to do, man. Close us out.
All right. Well, as always, thank you for listening to another episode. An episode. How many episodes have you listened to? Why don't you listen to every goddamn episode we've done? Anyway, thank you for listening to this episode of Sober Not Mature. Yeah, it's a weird week, man, but hopefully, you got something out of this one, man. I know Bill and I did. We miss our mom. We love our mom. But you know what? We got to be the men that this program taught us how to be this week. And I know I'm really fucking grateful for it. So come see us again next week. We'll have some more stories. We'll have some good stories about the family hanging out. And thanks for hanging out with us and helping us stay sober today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
And fuck off.
Well, I was gonna just call you a fucker. You almost made me cry. God damn it! But anyhow.
Yeah. Good. Good. Yeah.
I know.
I'm a little choky myself.
I know. All right, brother.
Yeah.
I will see you on one way or the other, Sunday or Monday at the latest. And I love.
Oh no, you'll see me Sunday.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to wasn't sure, but cool.
Oh yeah.
I will see you Sunday, and I love you, brother.
I love you too, man.
All righty. Bye.
Bye.
As always, thank you for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. To access all of our content and interact with us, please visit our website, SoberNotMature.com. Thank you again for listening, and we will talk to you soon.